All right, me? Is this where I speak? All right, everybody. Welcome to Sales Life. I'm Sean Ward. I am with the king of Central Kentucky, Justin Ryder. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. What an intro. Thank you.
Do you like how we switched that? I think it was a great idea you had.
It felt natural.
It was good to stumble across the starting line a little bit, but we got past it.
Okay, so we're back. Welcome back. I'm excited to be chatting with you. We've covered a lot of memories with kids. Did you want to say anything more about memories, sort of thinking through last week?
I think it's good to talk about like your trip idea, your kid, 5th grade trip. I think those things are good because I read about this. Bob Goff in the book Love Does?
Yeah.
You ever read
yes.
that? Yeah, so I read in his book Love Does years and years ago when he talked about every time he had 3 kids, when each of them turned 10, he'd take them on an adventure anywhere in the world. And the rules were, it could be anything. You're just going, you and dad, but it's 2 nights only. And like one of his kids literally picked, let's go have tea in England. So they flew to London, to have tea and whatever else you have with the tea thing. They did that and were there for 2 days and then came back. And it was such a cool, refreshing idea that it sounds like you carried it, and I don't know where you got it, but I carried that into the lives of our family. And I just think it's good to talk about some of these things. And I see other people do things and I'm like, that's a good idea. I want to do that with my kids. And,
what's the best one you've heard?
It might be this trip, but things like this where had it not been for stumbling across it, I would have missed the opportunity to do it with my kids. Or if somebody said, hey, I had kids and let me tell you, the best thing we ever did was X. Okay. That's really valuable. And you got to pay attention to that because as you said, last time we talked, those are your deathbed regret moments. I think it's those things. And I don't want that. I don't want that for me or you or anybody else listening to this. And the great allure and trap in the world, and particularly in American society, is the trap of wealth and career and success. And that's bottom line, that's the biggest trap we face. And we all fall into it. And let's not do that.
Well, and so I do want to preview this a little bit. The place I want to take us to is about pain today, which I think you're going to love.
Oh yeah, man. Let's go. Let's go. But who doesn't want to talk about pain? It's just
and it's deal related, commercial, it's commercial real estate deal related, kind of something I'm really thinking through that I think I'm going to make big progress on. But the ultimate pain is, I'm just going to say this, and people might literally turn off our show because they're like, this is the ultimate place you could go. But my worst case scenario for me, and what I'm most scared of, is sitting down, because I'm dying, and I've heard of people doing this, and writing letters to my daughters for when they turn, open this when you're 18, open this when you're 19, open this on your wedding. Yeah. Literally, I'm like the way I feel inside right now after literally just saying that out loud is ugh. I feel it is my number one fear and pain. And I know probably people listening to this, their families have been in that position. So
the fear of leaving your family early.
Yes. And missing.
Why? So the pain of you're missing? You're missing out on that, or is that what the pain is connected to?
It's probably selfish. I mean, it's me missing it and them missing a dad in it and sharing those moments. And the positive of it is if you have them, do not wait and use them. Tell the people, write the letters now. I do try to write my girls notes in letters because it's my handwriting. That's one thing that I think is really cool. And my wife and I always did that, especially early on.
That's a good idea. I've been working on outlining a book that I'm writing for my kids. But
Really?
I don't.
What's it called?
I don't know. I don't know. It's more about I haven't gotten there yet. But it's just things that I want to teach them. But I think I might be missing it. You just gave me a good idea. I think I should just give them letters instead with little bite-sized chunks. Because how lame. Can you imagine being a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid and getting a book from your dad about things you should know in life? That's got to be I mean, literally, as we're talking about this, I'm realizing that's the stupidest idea ever.
But it comes with like an assignment.
Yeah. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Like, please write a 3-page double-space report on all this love that I'm giving you and have it to me in 3 days.
That is so my style. I'm an idiot. Yeah, no, your letter idea is a better idea. Like, I guess the idea with the book was like, here, let me just distill the most important lessons I've learned in my life.
Give me one.
Give it to you and
just so people can understand your mindset here. Like, what would be a example of one?
Oh, let me open it. Hold on. Okay.
Dear son,
it's awkward. Yeah.
Cap rates. Here's the thing about cap rates.
It's okay. So in my Google doc, it's titled "Kid Wisdom Book." So that's not really a title, but that's
pretty good.
Okay. Here's rough outline of sections. 1, leave it better than you found it. Just as a way of approaching life, literally everything, every room you walk into, the kitchen after you have a snack. Leave it better than you found it. Okay, number 2,
okay.
Die before you die. Oh my God.
Jeez.
This is this is heavy.
This is heavy.
Okay. Oh, again, literally, I've never even talked to my wife about this, and here I am.
Sorry, the first one was like, clean up a snack.
No,
so I'm
the
thinking,
first one is a mindset of how you're going to live your life, like adding value to every situation.
Yes, that's deep,
the second one is
die before you die. So listen, really just goes there.
You're gonna die one day, and the whole point of being on this earth is to learn how to die before you die. Learn how to surrender, let go. Yeah, that's a little deep. They're not going to like that.
No,
anyway,
but I'm 100% with you.
Words having the power of life and death. You ever see that video? Everybody should turn this podcast off right now and go to Google go to YouTube and type in IKEA plant. And there's this video of this experiment. I don't know why it was IKEA, but the furniture store IKEA had this thing where they had these plants set up. I don't know if they did it in a classroom at a school somewhere, or maybe it was a store. And there was these 2 plants in these 2 cases side by side. And one plant, it was either they had the kids go up and speak life to it, speak positive things. You're such a beautiful plant. Oh, you look nice today. And the other one, they intentionally said to speak negatively towards it. You're the worst. I hate your leaves. Whatever. And I can't remember if it was the kids saying it or they just had like recordings going. But literally one plant flourished and the other one died. And you're watching a time lapse of the plant dying out.
Just from negativity.
From the words that are spoken. Then the energy that puts out. And the concept of words having the power of life and death. I want my kids to learn that early. And even in there, I said, show them the IKEA video. So anyway, you asked, those are just some of the things that,
dang.
Yeah, but I gotta workshop that. Here's a 200-page book. Chapter 1, die before you die. That's not going to go over well. I don't get it. I got to figure out how to make it digestible for them.
You know what would be really interesting and something I think like only a guy like you could do just with your writing skill is you have 3 kids that are different ages, correct?
Yeah, 14, 11, and 9.
And it would be cool to like, if you individualize those message that message for that specific age, it would kind of be an interesting dynamic. You know, die before you die to a 9-year-old, to an 11-year-old, to, you know,
Yeah.
that would kind of be, and their individual personalities too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm going to have to rethink Die Before You Die though. That's
okay.
Let's not use that as the title of this episode.
Speaking of Die Before You Die.
Wait, real quick before you move on. I think the idea of the trip thing, like that's a good one. That's a really good one. I hope people do. I started doing that. I did it with my 14-year-old now, and I did it when he was 10. I did it with my daughter who's 11. She wanted to go to Hawaii. We went to Hawaii for 2 days. I mean, it was wild. Like 2 nights, I should say. Third night was a red eye at back. But I had so much fun. That trip was top 5 things I've ever done in my entire life. That 3 days with my daughter. And then we decided, hey, let's do a 10-year-old adventure, a 12-year-old adventure, and a 14-year-old adventure. Each kid gets 3 trips. Yeah. And so this year, I'm doing them all because my 11-year-old's turning 12, my 9-year-old's turning 10, and my son just turned 14 at the end of last year. So the only one I know for sure are 2. My 9-year-old, he wants to go to New York City, right? So
oh my gosh.
That's going to be fun. My 14-year-old and this is sad because he's like, do we have to? Right. Right. So they get to that age where it's like, they don't even know if they want to. We're going to Japan.
For 2 nights?
We're going to probably stretch that to 3 nights, but 3 nights in Japan. And,
wow.
I have this guy that I met on LinkedIn. He's like a points travel guy. His name is Colin Stroud. He's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Helping me use my credit card points that I didn't know anything to do with to pay for this trip. So shout out to Colin.
Yeah. No,
anyway, the trip thing is great. I'm
going to reach out to him because I have hundreds of thousands of points I've never touched. Like, I don't know how to use them.
Well, you can use them for all these adventures. So that's great.
I'm going to. I love it, man. Okay. So Die Before You Die. Speaking of pain, so maybe you, Sean, can help me with this idea. Okay. One of the things to sort of swing us back towards commercial real estate deals, accomplishments in 2025 that we'd like to do is one of the things I was thinking for this year is to get better at systems and processes so that deals are less painful and that myself and my team could do more of the same deals, right? Like increase the velocity, increase the volume of deals as a byproduct of improving our processes.
Yeah.
And so again, I kind of then sat down and asked myself, why do I expect deals to be hard? Right? Like why am I expecting some sort of emotionally exhausting pain associated with a deal? And I'm just journaling this out and sort of trying to figure it out. And I think it's because of this. I think it's because early on in my career, so let's say, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, there were a few deals I was involved in that were very tough. And they required thread the needle, zoning change issues that they were delayed and prolonged. And when they closed, people said, wow, you got that closed. Like that was a really tough deal. And that feeling of people saying like, wow, you did that, you closed deals, that's an addicting feeling, right? Like that's a feeling of, hey, I'm impressive. And therefore I kind of stumbled upon this idea that I'm kind of subconsciously hoping everything I do is insanely difficult. So that people literally say like, wow, what a great broker. And I can't stress this enough. I don't want it. And it does not need to be that way. Like I don't want a subconscious longing for pain in all these deals.
You're a masochist.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think it came from telling that story and having people, acknowledge that the skill required and the tenacity, the grit required, and then kind of thinking like, well, maybe that's my part in this industry is like to do. So is what I'm saying, does that make any sense? Like, do you feel like that's helpful?
Yeah. Well, I think the first and most helpful thing is you have a pretty good self-awareness, like to dissect, like, why did I like that painful deal? You just said, hey, and the feeling of getting that hard thing figured out was amazing.
Yeah.
And like that was the thing you were in it for. And that I don't relate to that. I'm driven by a different motivator, right? So, but it's good that you can recognize like, hey, that's the thing that's driving me. And maybe you lean into that if that's the thing that you like doing and can add the most value in. Maybe you just say, hey, and maybe you lean into that with your marketing. The harder your problem, the more I can help you. The more, that's my skill set. I get into hard problems and I get them figured out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm definitely motivated by that and fueled by that. But it also has pushed me to want to like sink my teeth into every single thing and every single deal. And you can't delegate that way.
No.
You know, like you can't, like at some point you can only do 30 to 35 deals a year. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of it, right? But unless you have a team and unless you're willing to let stuff go, not need to chase that feeling of like, I solved the problem, I did this. That's just one thing I'm really focusing on this time and thinking through why do we put pressure on ourselves as brokers? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And sort of how to deal with that, like thinking through that pressure versus stress.
Yeah. I mean, so your self-awareness and what drives you, mine is very much, it's more the money for me, which go a layer deeper. Is probably the driving subconscious things are the fear of lack, right? That there's not enough safety. I don't have enough money to keep me safe from whatever life circumstance. So
right.
that could be what it, it's and we've talked about this, more of a fear-driven approach for me. But just the desire of like, okay, yeah, I'm in this to make money. It could lead you down paths that you don't want to go. And I think there's always this urge, it's the entrepreneurial journey of you get to a point where you've tapped out your potential to do it the way you've done it, maybe as a solopreneur or something like that. And then the way to move forward is by utilizing leverage and scaling. Right. So what you're talking about, maybe we could smooth out our system, have systems in place. Maybe I could delegate better. So that looks like leveraging systems, leveraging people, technology. But to set that all up, that's, the working on your business, not in your business. That is going to take so much time and attention away from your business. Mm-hmm. And so the first question is, do you want to go down that path? Like, really, does it support your bigger goal of what you're trying to do with business? And I think a lot of people get sucked into doing that and scaling and growing without being really intentional over why. And it's just this urge for more. Like for me, the trap would be the urge for more money. So I start doing this. Well, it's like, if I analyzed why I want more money, it probably comes back to, well, so then I could have a greater sense of freedom. It's like, and then I don't realize I am absolutely burying my ability to have freedom by building this big thing that I got to manage. Now I got 15 people that I'm responsible for managing. That's a lot heavier. Now, instead of doing 35 deals a year, we do 135. That's a lot less freedom, right? So you just got to be intentional when you set it up. Like, do I want to grow this way? Does that support my intention for what my career is?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm, just chapters previous to you, or I'm like, you flip your page back like 30 pages. And here we are thinking through me saying 1 to 1.5 people doing 35 deals to 4 doing 80.
Yeah.
Right. And I love what you said. 100% it's worth it to me. Like I'm ready to step back and work on that bigger thing, because I do really want to see people succeed. Like the people that I'm working with, I really do find a joy in training, motivating, invigorating, and, and sending.
And so that would be an excellent reason to scale.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But, and not an excellent reason to scale. I mean, you've analyzed it. You're self-aware enough. So that is a great reason to do and push into that. And maybe that's just what life has for you as your next chapter. The next struggle will be to build that thing. And you will grow as a person as a result of that. So that's great. It's awesome.
Let me ask you this along these same lines. Okay, so first of all, let's just acknowledge this, please. And I think many people listening to this would also acknowledge this. There are people that would kill for our problems, right? I mean, it just doesn't
100%.
go without saying. Like,
Of course.
And so that being said, do you feel that most of your professional days are filled with pressure or stress? Because I think they're very different things, and I've been trying to define the difference.
What are your definitions right now?
Well, pressure being somewhat external in nature, and stress being, an internal response to.
Oh.
Let's say and the reason I'm trying to differentiate those is because it's in the pursuit of health, right? Like stress is bad for you. Pressure can be, pressure's neutral, right?
Yeah.
Pressure can be good or bad depending on how you react to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mostly stress for me.
Yeah.
It's all internal, and that's everything from, being a perfectionist to juggling too many things at once, I could just and that's really what I've been working on is, hey, you don't need to change your externalities. You don't need to leave the business you're in. You don't need to sell your house and move to central Kentucky and buy 10 acres and live off the land. All these other escapism things that my mind goes to.
Right.
You can just stop putting all this pressure on yourself. You don't need to have X number of dollars in the bank to be free. I am free. I'm a free person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gifted life by God. I could walk out my door right now and just enjoy the freedom that I've been given. But there's something in me that doesn't, that I have to earn it, that I have to be secure enough. And those are my battles, right? So for me, yeah, internal stresses, self-inflicted.
Honestly, it's one of the healthiest thoughts of 2025 for me, like digging into the difference. And I want to encourage you, and because of, in some way, kind of what we're doing, stress is very unhealthy. Like if you sit on and live in stress, it's like, it has negative implications for your health and, physically, mentally. And one of the best things you can do is talk about it. Like talk about it cathartically and go there and ask the tough questions, which is kind of why we started this.
Yeah.
To sort of say like, if people want to follow along, great. I'll check, like this project for me is something that, I've been writing like on LinkedIn and stuff for long enough now that like, I don't really care. I don't check the stats. Like if something does really well, it's like kind of great. Mm-hmm. This is the most interesting project I've been a part of in a media landscape. Mm-hmm. Again, not to be so meta as to talk about our podcast on the podcast, but it's
you love to though.
I know I shouldn't.
You should.
I'm sure people just turn it off.
Hey, don't shit on yourself, dude.
Yeah, but this is like invite you into the journey, and if you want to go on this journey with us, great. And like if you don't, it's totally okay. But it's not really for like views. Like it's just something we're doing, and that feels great. It feels like a stress reliever.
Pure intentions, anyway. Yeah, because we don't put any pressure onto the outcome. And that's why I don't know who said this, probably some philosopher or somebody, but like they say art is the thing that you do for the sake of doing it, not for like the thing you produce. Right.
Right.
Like, and so for me, like that, not to, oh my God, not to say that this is art we're creating, but like, but this is like I enjoy photography, and it's not so I have this collection of things. Like I just enjoy the act of doing it. Like I could go out and just enjoy shooting photos. Right. Stuff like that. I enjoy playing lacrosse with my kids. Like it's just, I enjoy that, right? I think those are the things in life that are great when you're just in the moment enjoying what you're doing. And for me, I hate to say this, I'm at this age of life where I say, people are like, oh, what do you do for fun? It's like, well, I don't know, kind of have a podcast. It's like a hobby. I don't know. Well, what else do you do? I take photos of my kids. All right, what else? Sports, golf? No, nothing. I don't watch sports. I don't play golf. I don't do anything else.
Yeah.
That's it. I just go to work, hang with my family, and do this podcast.
Yes.
Seriously.
I love talking about pure intentions. That being said, this episode is sponsored by Dr. Scholl's. If you have foot problems or corns, Dr. Scholl's can put you in the right place where you need to be. We've got a link in the show notes for 10% off of your. No, I'm just.
I don't want to do that ever. We should never do stuff like that.
I don't know that anybody would ever sponsor it. Then again, it's like if you don't, it's probably the more you try to be different and authentic, the more people are like, gosh, I want to be a part of that. We could never have a commercial real estate sponsor just because of all the dramatic dynamics of it. But like
conflicts,
a health company or something, like I would do it for something that I thought was just super cool.
No, we can't because we're pure intentioned, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
you gotta say no. Say no to Dr. Scholl's.
All right, brother. Hey, that's a great episode, man. I enjoyed this chat. I felt like it rounded it out. We started with kids. We went to pain. It's a classic episode of Sales Life, really. I mean,